Hi, I'm Brian Rose,
I'm Michael Mcpherson.
and welcome to the Lion's Den.
Good stuff. No big introduction this week, mate.
I forgot Central Area, English, British.
We've heard it all before. They've heard it all before. So episode 2, we've got a good episode today. We were talking lightweight kings. We've talking fighters mindset, which I'm really excited about. I know you're going to tell us some stories from your own career, which I think people are going to really enjoy listening to. And then we've got your mate Anthony Crolla on, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders. So yeah, it's going to be a good episode.
Yeah, it's a really interesting chat today. I'd just like to say thanks for all the support so far. Since starting the podcast, we've had great feedback. So I really appreciate the support and the great guests that have come on, Ricky Atton and Anthony Crolla. You know, it's a great start.
Yeah, no, super. So that's Brian. All Brian's doing, he's utilising them boxing contacts. He's making it happen. I see a future as an agent for him actually. No, like you said, just to echo what Brian's saying, thanks a lot for any support. We love the positive feedback. We're ignoring all the bad feedback. No, we're not really. We haven't had any bad feedback yet, but if we do, we'll take it on board. But yeah, give us a follow. YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, any way possible that you can follow us, do it.
Yeah, keep sharing.
That's it. And also comment. Let us know what you think of the podcast. Let us know your opinions. That's what we're here to do. Have a discussion. So we look forward to getting back to you on it. So let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, mate, first up, lightweight kings. They've been talking a lot at the moment about if it all comes together, this lightweight division, the big four, Americans and Mexican fighter with Garcia can be like the four kings of the 80s with Leonard and, Duran and Hagler and Hearns. It's a big answer. They've got a long way to go, but it is an exciting division. We're going to have Crolla on and we're going to talk to him a bit about that. But who do you think's got the potential out of those guys to be the king of that division?
Me out the four, I think Lopez. He beat the man at the moment, and that was Lomachenko. Lomachenko for me was the best out there. So it'd be mad for me not to say Lopez because he beat the main man. So for me, definitely Lopez.
Yeah, I think unbelievable performance against Lomachenko, who could also throw himself in the mix to upset this proposed four kings, because I find it strange how all of a sudden one close defeat and he's been overlooked when a year ago he was being talked about as the pound for pound king. But yeah, no, it's very exciting. I actually was going to say that after the Campbell performance, and I know we spoke about it before, that Garcia was the one for me that looked like he was going to really sort of step on now. But we've heard yesterday the news that he's now going to step away from boxing and for a while, and I guess that's going to drift into our next subject, which is mindset. I mean, can you sort of think what he's going through at the moment?
I mean, I can relate a little bit because I struggled a bit myself before Christmas. So, I can relate, but that's what comes with that little bit of fame sometimes. And I'm not sat here saying I'm famous, but he is massively famous, so he's took it to another level. And it comes with fame, the criticism, it might not be liked, people constantly wanting pictures with you, people constantly wanting something from you. Sometimes you feel used by people. You don't know what's going through his mind. So I wish him all the best and hope he gets back to winning ways and does what he set out to do in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's such a tough one, and it's such a tough one. Like I say, we'll talk a lot more about this later on with Ant, but Ryan Garcia has put himself out there. He's marketed himself to the max. I don't think I'm not trying to be critical in any way. I think he's done fantastic, but he's now got 10 million followers, but it comes at a price, because I would be very surprised if that's not related to why he's feeling this way. He's put himself massively out there, and if you've got 10 million people, yes, 10 million people could praise you, but 10 million people can also be very quick to criticize you. So it's a shame. Like you say, we wish him well, and we hope he gets back to winning ways soon. But you've got Haney fighting, Linares coming up. That's going to be a good fight. Linares is also a guy who's going to want to try and spoil things for those young guys. That would be a good fight. Davis looking to step back up. Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting division. I'm going to say the same as you. I'm going to say Lopez, and I think we'll pick that up when we speak to Am.
Yeah, can I just say something about mindset as well? I think especially boxing board of control, I think something should be put in place for these boxers that struggle mentally with mental health. You know, they just left, and I think it should be looked at, because people think boxers, you know, they're tough and they're hard. They can take it, and boxers think that too. They feel like they don't need to go and see psychologists or go and get help. So for me, boxers need something put in place for maybe after boxing. You know, we pay boxing board. You know, every time we fight, we pay a percentage. Yeah. So maybe some of that money could go towards helping these boxers with mental health.
Mate, I couldn't agree more. Do you not think a lot of it is down to, you know, I'll talk it from my industry. I think a lot of it's down to management as well. I mean, in this day and age, they're putting themselves out there on social media platforms, fighters, and they say things to promote fights. You know that yourself, and it might not necessarily be them or a fair reflection of what they're actually feeling. You know, and I think sometimes someone like Ryan Garcia, with 10 million followers and living his world through his podcasts, through his videos, through TikTok, through Instagram, does he actually know what the real world feels like? Do you know what I mean? Does he have the calmness to step away at night time and go, I'm Ryan Garcia, I'm a young man, I've got a young family, can I just sit down and be me? I don't think he does.
No, definitely. It's a good point. I mean, people say to me, I don't like him because they've seen an interview, but you'll probably find, I mean, I'll use an example. Tony Bellew on an interview comes across like an animal, but when you actually meet him, he's a gentle person. He's nice to meet. You know, he's a good person to be around. And that's just an example, but never judge someone by their interview or the way they've acted after they've won, because it's not always them. You know, it's not really them. They're either acting up for social media or selling themselves, you know, to get more fans and sell arenas out. And that's what someone like Tony Bellew did. But when you meet him, he's nothing like that.
Yeah, 100%. I'll talk a bit about Tony Bellew later on. When we talk mindset, just sorry, it always sticks out with him. But I couldn't agree more. We have to look at what we're asking these boxers to do as managers and as promoters. You know, we're asking them to big it up, to hype fights, to say the provocative things, and you know, there's repercussions on that come after. So I agree with you. Something we need to look at for sure.
Definitely.
Good stuff, mate. I want to move on to mindset, fighters' mindset. You know, I'm big into my positive mindset. I'm big into mental strength. You know, I love my sport and it's something I'm always looking at. But I don't think anybody can really understand what it's like to get in this ring and fight someone, what it takes, unless they've done it. And I haven't. And for that reason, I'm always so interested to hear like your stories and your take on it. And you were telling me a story a couple of weeks ago about the Martial fight, and you know, I was just shocked. You know, it was what made me want to talk mindset today. So I'll let you tell the story about what you actually felt in that fight and your thoughts, what was going through your head, and how you still went on and finished that fight.
Yeah, so the Martial fight, it was you know, it was a fight that was going into, you know, everyone expected me to get beat. You know, again, mentioning Tony Bellew, the only commentator that night, he said I'd win on points. I went on to win on points, but the rest totally wrote me off. So during the fight, you know, it was a tough fight. He was hitting me to the body. He caught me and hurt me a few times. But I remember thinking, I've 100% got a bleed on the brain, and thinking to myself, I will die in this ring tonight to win. I honestly thought after the fight I was going to collapse and die. And it's mad to think what boxers will go through just to win and be victorious, because I think it goes back to what we sacrifice and the years from training as a 9-year-old boy, and how much I wanted to succeed. Nothing would stand in my way. So that's why I was willing to die in the ring. It was something that I loved. And if I died doing something I loved, I'd be happy, which is crazy to think. I mean, I got out the ring, I didn't collapse, and I didn't die because of me. I got back to the change rooms. I did a drug test, and I was pissing blood. It was mad. I turned to the drug test and said, it happens all the time. And I'm thinking, I'm in the wrong fucking sport, me. Like, I just couldn't believe I was pissing blood. It was just a normal thing.
I just think it's, take a second to take that in, really, what you're actually saying. It's easily said, but to actually do it, to feel like, you know, I'm prepared on this moment, you know, there's a chance I could die here, and, you know, I'm going to take that chance because this is who I am. I just think it's crazy what you're made of. And But boxers, they're like all the time. I just think they're a different breed. I mean, you mentioned Bellew, so I'll go on and tell you that kind of story of him. And Tony is, you've known him longer than me. He's he might come across as brash in interviews, but he's quite a quiet, placid, gentle guy in real life. And I was working at a big event, and he was walking around, and we had to rush across to the other side of the Liverpool Empire. I think we were going from one area of fans to a meet and greet, and I was running behind schedule, and it's my event, so I wanted for it to go right. And I went, "Come on, Tony, we've got to shoot over there." And we're walking along, and he was walking so slow. I bet you
didn't tell him to hurry up.
No, I didn't. I went, "Are you all right, Tony? Do you want a sandwich on the way or a drink or anything?"
Really, you were thinking, fucking hurry up?
I was thinking I've gotten to know him a bit better now, but at the time I was thinking I'm quite tempted to go, come on, hurry up. And I'm thinking, you don't do it. But he just operate in first gear. And later on that night, actually, we were backstage in the dressing room, and you came up, didn't you? And we were having a chat and stuff. And we were talking boxing as you all do off air. We talk it here, but we love boxing, so we'll talk it even when there's no one listening. So we're sitting there and we're talking boxing. And we said about, would he have took the Wilder fight? And he went, well, yeah, I would have done, yeah. And how would you have approached that? And he just stepped into me, and he went like a lunatic. And I just went, oh yeah, I think that would have worked, Tony. Yeah, cheers, man. And it's like they had a switch just to turn. And it's the same with you, mate.
I do it to a few of my friends. So when one of my mates puts it on me, I just get in my stance and they fold. I'm not going to name names, but there's a couple of our
name and shame.
Coyle's one.
I felt a little bit funny there. Do you know what I mean?
As soon as you get your stance, they're back off.
Next week I'll be going, let's social distance, and I've got to sit in the room, right? But it's true. You're made from different stuff, and we're going to get Ant on in a second, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about his couple of early defeats and going on to be a world champion, and how you face that, because like we said before about criticism, and probably what Ryan Garcia's maybe had to deal with a little bit. You put yourself out there here. You put yourself in front of people and the world stage to fight someone. Most people in the street, let's be honest, they don't want confrontation. They don't like fighting, don't like upset, and that's the correct way to be. Everyone likes niceness.
It's normality to us. Yeah, it's a comfortable place, the ring, for us. It's crazy to think. Crolla's a great guest to have on talking about mindset because of what he's been through. The bumps in the roads that he's had that he's going to talk about. He's basically been through it all and got through it and become a world champion. So he's inspiring.
Yeah, definitely. Should we get him on?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
How are you, Ant?
Right, I'm good. Always good to see you, mate. Good to see you both. But no, all good. Just Sunday duties, son at football. Watch the Reds after it. And then that's it now. I was saying I've got to just get some stuff ready to go in an hotel bubble in a few days' time for the big show, May the 1st in Manchester. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to that, mate.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you in the Lions Den, mate.
Yeah,
pleasure to be in there, mate.
Top stuff. You two go back a long way, obviously, and you were telling me that you're battling out for the nicest guy in boxing.
Yeah, well, anyone that asks me who the nicest guy in boxing is, I always say, Ant Crolla, without a doubt, and I'm pretty sure he says the same about myself. He's like,
I do a back to you as well, Bri.
But I'm definitely nicer than him.
But the thing is, I know you well, so it's got to be him who's the nicest guy in boxing. We've been talking about mindset today, talking about the fighter's mindset and how fighters are just built differently. Got something different inside there. And I was thinking about your career and the two early defeats you had in your career, and going on from there to be a world champion. And I wanted to ask you, what it was that made you able to refocus and kind of redirect yourself from those defeats to being a world champion.
Do you know what I think? Listen, I think the biggest thing is self-belief, and that I never stopped believing. But I just had to put my finger on it. Why in the gym am I performing and people are saying, you can go a long way, and then in fights I wasn't performing? I think that's a huge thing. I think sort of accepting that he wasn't performing is another, and sort of how you go about changing it. I think, like I said earlier on, my first loss, I say this all the time, people laugh, it was to a part-time ice cream man, part-time boxer. So to win world titles from that is obviously a big thing, and it's very rare. But I didn't do you know what it was? Even then afterwards, I kept believing. Don't get me wrong, along the way, my confidence did take knocks. And, do you know, when you start believing people about, do you know, what level you can reach. And then there was probably a time where I thought, do you know what? I don't think I can reach world. I mean, I want to aim for that. I'll be happy if I win this, or I'll be happy to win that. And that's it. But I think a lot of it is self-belief. There's no denying that, you know, never sort of, you know, coming away from the pathway you think you can get to. You've got to accept, or I've learned it now. I didn't think at the start. Speed bumps, you know, in the road, there's going to be ups and downs. So you've got to sort of preserve and sort of stay with it at times. And I think you've just got to remember, like, I think losing, I think it is meant to hurt you. It's meant to get you down, because that's part of, you know, having a winning mentality. You're not meant to enjoy losing. But I think you've then, without sounding cheesy like a Rocky line or something like that, you've got to show how you can come back from it. You've got to go and make the adjustments. And that's it, like I said. But my first loss was a hard one to take. Like I said, I think I was 8-0. I was fighting someone who, like I said, was a journeyman, ice cream man / boxer. So obviously you can imagine all the Mr. Whippy shouts, you know, after it.
Can you imagine the story he's got now when he's selling his ice creams though? He's literally out Mr. Whippy and he's going, I'll beat Anthony Crolla.
I reckon there's a great chance. Yeah, Youssef. I reckon there's a brilliant chance. And that's it. And obviously, it was my first fight on telly. I say it all the time. Like, I'm letting everyone know. I mean, I'd fought for little clips on telly, but I was doing well. And there's like, listen, we're going to, you know, put you on television. So I was live on television. Obviously, I'm letting everyone know on social media. Tune into ITV4, it would have been then. And then for me, I think Amir Khan finished his opponent early. So they also showed it on normal ITV as well that night. So yeah, great look. But you know what it was that night? I think it also shown a lot of people. And I say, like, it doesn't, I know I'm rambling a bit here, but it doesn't, I don't get offended by it, but there's a lot of fighters a lot of sort of people who was buying tickets who stopped buying tickets after that fight because they're thinking, oh, you know, he's meant to be one of the next big things coming out of Manchester. We're not going to have much of a journey with him if he's losing in fights, you know, to journeyman, and that's not being disrespectful to journeyman. But that's it. It's not going to be the journey they was hoping for. I mean, the same people who stopped buying tickets then come back on. And listen, I don't think, oh, glory or all like that. I just think, no, I respect the fact that you thought, well, listen, I think we'll pick someone else to follow. Do you know what I mean? So that was it, really. But I look back at that, and at the time, as hard as it was, as sort of humbling as it was, as sort of not really wanting to show my face for a bit, but I did do it, was, you know, it was a blessing in disguise.
We had Ricky Hatton on last week, and he was saying about how he thinks it's hugely important in a career to actually have a loss. He was saying to you, wasn't he, about how it actually can define a fighter. You know, sometimes if you go through unscathed, when you finally do get hit or you do face adversity, you don't know where you stand.
Without a doubt, and I think like those losses, like I said, I had some along the way. It wasn't just that one, but then they prepare you as well for when sort of the going gets tough, and you know, to dig in, to sort of to stay a little bit calmer. Like, for instance, do you know what, right? I remember being at the Towers, and it was a bad night for you at the Towers, sorry. And you drew, am I right?
Yeah,
you drew, didn't you?
I suppose he's got a good memory, hasn't he? Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Mate, I've got a bad memory with him. Yes, with the boxing. Like I said, don't know what I had for breakfast this morning, but my boxing memory is really good. I remember that, but I don't remember
Minucci
walking out. What's that?
Minucci Slaw it was, the terror from Toronto.
Yes. I remember it well, but honestly, I remember thinking, like you say, there would have been people there, and you know, geez, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do anything as a pro.
100%, yeah.
Without a doubt, it would have been. But then I believe then sort of, was it Marcial you fought from Argentina?
Yeah.
And I believe that kind of fight sort of put you in good stead for that. Do you know where you had to dig deep, you had to bite on your gum shield to pull you through? I'm not saying it wouldn't, but if you wouldn't have had that fight early on in your career where you had to deal with panic, where you had to overcome things, then you might not have, you know what I mean? It's been good stuff.
You know what? Even the experts write you off. So I remember fighting for who did I fight? A French lad. It was my first 8-rounder on Sky Sports. I was buzzing to be fighting my first. It was when I was with Kelly Maloney. It was my first 8-rounder, and I remember knocking him down it was like a screw shot, and he went over, and I tried to blast him out, and that's not my game. And I remember blowing up a bit in the fight. And it was my first 8-rounder anyway. The last 2 rounds, I was absolutely knackered, and the commentator was like, English level, English champion at best. And I was thinking, how can they go off? I think it was Jim Watt. I was thinking, how can you go off that one performance saying that I'm only going to be an English champion just because I had 2 bad rounds? You know, it's ridiculous. But it's things like that drive you to succeed without a doubt.
No, without a doubt. And that sort of thing, like the same people who right, you're off. I remember after that night, people said, and it's no disrespect to those, they'll get an area title like it's best, and it always stuck with me. And I thought, you know what, I'll remember that. I look forward to proving those people wrong.
Do you know what, that poses an interesting question for me, actually, to answer you guys. I mean, you know, you've both fought at the highest level, and you'll have people looking up to you and really appreciating your opinions. What was the worst, you know, the biggest praise you received, that you respected the most from a figure that you really looked up to? And what was actually the most hurting criticism you received from someone that you looked up to as well?
You go first, Dan, because I won't remember.
That's a tough one, man. Just let me think. How long have we got? Wow.
As long as you want, mate. As long as you want.
No, but do you know what? It sounds cheesy, doesn't it? But sometimes I think every lad who has a good relationship with the father, when they get praised, you always want to impress him, don't you? Yeah, so I remember, like, early on, sort of my dad being sort of, he didn't say it, but like, you know, super proud of us, and like him and my uncle, they come everywhere to watch us. But there was also like hard critics, and they'd say how, like, you know, the improvement that meant more to me. That meant more to me than anything. I remember also Michael Buffer saying after the Barroso fight, it was like watching poetry. It didn't feel like poetry, but you know how it was all coming together and stuff. So that, you know, little things like that, and then sort of just well respected, so well respected people in boxing. You know, coaches, and you know, when they come in and pay you a compliment, I'd have to really think for one that, you know, nails it down.
Mine's my dad, and like the same as you, like, because you know what we did in the amateurs, used to come to the shows every weekend when we were in national championships. So you could make the butties for us and that, and it was my dad travelled like your dad, but my dad never said to me. So my dad inspired me in a different way. He never once showed me how to. He used to just drag me out of bed and make sure I was at the gym, and that for me means more to me than anything else.
No, definitely. And it's like some people say, oh, it sounds soft, it is. So I imagine, Brian, similar on although my dad used to box, he wasn't one of those dads who tried to coach me, or you know, certainly didn't try and interfere, because listen, you get them in all sports. In boxing, you also get some balmy parents, you know, who push it. Listen, me, but we would have seen many over the years. But just like football, like say, I seen a little lad playing football, I hear some of the parents then. I think in all, you know, push your parents, but I think when you sort of get the appreciation from them, when really we should be appreciating everything they've done for us for years, all the sacrifices they made. I think that no matter what, and there's been some big people at the fight, celebrities, you know, who come in and congratulate you and stuff like that. I think nothing means more than your own parents saying it to you.
Yeah, making them proud.
I absolutely love that, because, you know, like you say, the big celebrities that two of you have had come over and praise your performances, and all the ringside guests and over the years, and, you know, media and stuff like that. But it's got to be your dad, and even for me, everything I do, my dad was up last week. He said, "Oh, you know, I'm proud of you," which is very rare for him, on a little thing. And it's like, I want to break down, like, oh, I'm just going to get a cup of tea. It's like, doesn't matter who, you know, anyone else can praise you. It's fine. Like, oh, cheers, mate. When it's your dad, it's like, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what I say. It's different. If you've got that, if you're lucky enough to have a good relationship with your father, I know not everyone is, but it is. It's without doubt that's it for me. You asked the worst one. I don't know. Listen, I've been told off a few times off coaches. No denying that. And but I don't know about like her. I think you've just got to learn to take criticism. I'd have to sort of go back. I remember the boxing news, I'd look forward to it every week, and you know, with a thought, and then there was a report which I didn't agree with. Yeah, that hurt, but it's just because I look forward to reading it.
Yeah. Did you find that? Did you find early on, like in your career, when you got criticism, you found it hard to take? Because I found it so hard. I used to argue with like proper dickheads online. And then find myself at 12 o'clock at night arguing with people that don't have a profile picture.
Yeah, the computer screen. You
can stand that today.
No, you're right. It is like, and certainly as it went on, I'm just like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't.
You know, like now I think helping, you know, coach fighters and stuff. I'm like, do not let it worry. But I knew like early on in my career, I wouldn't. And you'd bite at things, and you're thinking, as you get older, you're thinking, why did I bite at that? Why did I give someone whose name's Tyson Foreman or that's the username or whatever? Why am I arguing with this person and stuff? And I remember, like I said, I remember someone on there, you know, been slated on the forums. There's not really a forum now because there's Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter and Instagram now.
But yeah, and listen, I think social media can be a brilliant thing, and I think it's pretty important for fighters to be on it. Without a doubt now. But yeah, of course, you know, you get something, and it's just like anything, just like with the football now when people are getting abused. I know it's much worse, but when it's someone behind a fake profile, it's hard to take, you know, because you're fuming, you can't do much about it. So I just think you've not got to rise to it, because you rise to it once, then they'll keep coming for you.
Yeah, they usually get me late at night when I'm tired and hungry on a diet. I think you're getting it now, and I'm arguing with it.
That's the time.
This thing that's not even a profile picture. It's mad, isn't it?
But the thing is,
you're arguing with an egg. You're arguing with an egg.
Yeah, that's it. That's the word I was looking
for. you boys are, you know, putting yourselves out there to stand up and be counted in the ring, and you know that's fair enough. You're going to face criticism. You're going to face praise. When you're arguing with an egg, that's when you know they've got no argument really.
Yeah. That's it.
You drop down. That's it. You drop down to the level. Yeah.
So we've been talking a little bit as well, Anne, about the kind of new kings of the lightweight division, and they're talking about the kind of Lopez and the Haney and the Garcia and the Davis is going on to be like the four kings were in the 80s. And I wanted your opinion. We both wanted your opinion on, you know, who do you think out of those four has got the potential to rule if they all fight each other, and have the likes of Lomachenko and maybe Linares can they still get in the mix of them as well?
I think it's mental the way that, not just because, you know, I've been in with him, but the way that those four get spoken about. Well, I know why they get spoken about, because none of them, I mean, you could argue Lopez will be too keen to fight, but Lomachenko's not in that mix. Yeah. Do you know, he's not in that mix. In that mix of what people are saying of the new four kings. Do you know what? I'd love to see them all fight each other. I'd love to see them all, but without being a spoil sport, I think it's very unlikely for a number of reasons, not just promotional reasons. I think, you know, a few of them are young. They're not going to stay at the same weight for, you know, forever. Well, for the too near future, in my opinion. I think we saw yesterday the news of Ryan Garcia, bless him, speaking out, saying how he's not been well mentally and he's going to get himself right. So there's a setback. Obviously, Haney Linares, I think, listen, if your gay has got much left, that's going to be really, really interesting. And then you're just not sure. I mean, Davis, am I right in saying Davis's next fight is now at super lightweight, isn't it? It's
that's for right. A regular. He went down, actually. He went down a weight, but they're saying that his long-term goal is to come back into the lightweight division and battle
lightweight, yeah. And so there's Haney, there's Garcia, Haney, Garcia, Lopez, and obviously Lopez. You've got to say he's the ace of the pack, you know, after beating Lomachenko. But again, he's huge. He's absolutely huge at the weight. But so I think we might see most of them boxing each other. I'm just not sure it will be at lightweight. I think you mentioned two names there, obviously Lomachenko and Linares. You know, well, listen, they perform. They've got a chance. Not just, especially Lomachenko. You couldn't just say a chance. You'd have to make him favourite with any of them. But listen, Linares, like I said, I'm really, really looking forward to the fight with Devanina. I'm looking forward to loads, but I'm sure there's one more fight I'm looking forward to a little bit more, but on the same bill. But other than that, it's a great fight. It's a great fight in the lightweight division. It tells us also a lot about where Devin Haney's at.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think like you said there, really, like it's crazy that Lomachenko, who, you know, up until his fight against Lopez, everyone was just saying he's the pound for pound king. He's the best you know, he starts that fight slow and, you know, loses he lost the fight.
He lost a close fight. I think Lopez done enough for sure, didn't he? But there wasn't loads in it, and then he's lost it, and that's it. Now he's not even in one of the 4 kings.
It's not. I don't understand why he's not demanded a rematch or like.
It's strange. I was going to say that he just seems to have gone quiet and kind of been happy with people saying he's, you know, not yesterday's man. That's a bit brutal, but he just seems to have gone quiet and been happy with, you know, not. You think he'd be bashing the door down for a rematch?
I think he beats him the second time. Because
that's what I'm going to say.
He's so clever. He'll go back, work on the things he went wrong on, and he'll win the fight like he did on his first loss.
Yes, and that's what I just think. I think with him, I think you'd still make him. Lopez either be very close, but you'd still probably make him favourite to win any of those fights. Yeah. You know, before it was to fight tomorrow, you look at the bookmakers, I'm pretty sure it'd be favourite. I think, like I say, what Lopez done that he was used his size real well. And like I say, Lomachenko started too slow. Whether that was down to the size, the power of Lopez, I don't know. But it'd be interesting, like I say, but that's another lad as well. Lopez, the size of him. I met him out in December in Texas, and just the biggest lightweight you will see. He's absolutely massive. I don't know if you've seen the Triller build up the other day with Cambosos, and you could see him, and he just looked massive. He looks absolutely. He's not out of shape, massive, but he's just a very big lad for the weights. That's what I'm saying about. He'll go through the weights as well.
Yeah.
But there's some great fights that were made in the lightweight division, and I believe that Haney and Linares is one of them. And thankfully, we're going to see that. Hopefully, we see some more.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I know it's very early in their career, and like you've just said, you know, there's a lot to happen yet, and we don't know if they're all going to fight each other. But at this stage, if someone said to you who is going to be the so-called king and come out on top with the most success in their career out of those guys, who would you say it was?
I think, it's hard. You know, you look what Lomachenko is. He's already a freeweight world champion. I think he wins another world title as well. So, but take him out of there, I think it's so hard because, you know, you go Vontae Davis. He's an unbelievable puncher, one of the biggest pound punchers, you know, in the boxing world without a doubt. I think it's hard. It's so hard.
Can't sit on the fence, mate. Come on.
Ryan Garcia, like, I believe, you know, against Luke Campbell, he's shown he was for real. Yeah. And the numbers he does. So, listen, I think he wins the most. Yeah, Ryan Garcia has a great chance. But I think Teofimo Lopez, you've got to put as the favourite, you know, in being young the way he is. He's only young. He's 23, 24.
Yeah.
To have won, you know, to be the man in such a talented packed division, I think you've got to say Teofimo Lopez. Out of the 4 that have been mentioned, but it's a great division.
Yeah, super. What do you reckon, Brian? Who would you say?
I think Lopez the same. Not just copying.
You just said that.
But I think Lopez.
No, but it's hard to go against him, isn't it?
Yeah, he's like the one coming through and the one that stands out, obviously, because he beat Lomachenko. And before then, I thought Lomachenko was the best. So it's got to be Lopez.
Yeah, fair shout. And I wanted to go on, actually. We've got a couple of questions that coming online. One of them was, is your $1 million Crolla the best nickname in boxing, and how did it come about?
It's I think it's up there. Do you know how it come about? Do you remember the film Hilary Swank, Clint Eastwood? $1 Million Baby.
Yeah.
It's Hilary Swank. Yeah, it's Hilary Swank and Clint Eastwood. Yeah. That was it. That come out at the time. Obviously, it rhymed. But yes, it was. I've said it before. It's a bit of a cheek because, like, I was calling myself $1 Million Crolla when I'm driving around in a finance course or living in bunk beds with a little brother. It's a bit of a cheat, like, but yeah, it's. But yeah, no, it's got. You know what? It's got to be up there, but it also comes with a bit of pressure. You know, when we say that early on in your career and you've not looked the best, I didn't look $1 million, and so
it's the tune you come out to as well. You are under a bit of pressure from the start with the
you come out to Whitney as well. Yeah, you've got to put pressure on myself, but yeah, it's up there. I'm thinking of thinking a nickname. There's a spot, one of a local lad. What's it, from Bolton? Jack Cleaver. What's it? Little Levers Meat Cleaver.
God, Meat Cleaver, yeah. That's a belter, isn't it?
Or the Meat Cleaver from Little Lever, or something like that. Some place in Bolton, but no, $2 million up there, yeah.
Before Mike asks the second question, I've got a question for you. You know, when I came to Anthony Farnell's training that day, I was going to come to and move to Anthony Farnell.
Yes.
Remember when you was training? I think Bellew was there, you was there.
Yes.
And I went to put my shoes on after training and it was full of moisturiser. I was just wondering if you had anything to do with that.
I had nothing to do with that, Brian. There's a lot of pranks getting played throughout. And,
he looked guilty.
I'll tell you who that would have been.
Can you tell me who did it, or you're not a grass?
I'm not a grass, but was Stephen Bell in the gym that day?
He was, yeah.
There's a great chance. Wow, what a character he was. You know,
oh, brilliant.
When you think you meet some characters in boxing, but he's right up there. Not just in boxing, one of the funniest men I've ever met.
He's brilliant, isn't he?
Brilliant, Stephen Bell.
So one of the questions actually, and it's similar to what I wanted to finish by answering, is what is the best punch of your career? If you could relive one punch, what would it be?
Best punch of my career. It's probably hard. It's probably sort of the one that everyone expects. Really, was the body shot through to win the world title. You know, it was perfectly placed. You know, the body shot, and I think Sky messed up at the time and switched the cameras. They landed it. You see it all right in the replay, but I think that shot, it was perfectly through. And there's that one, and then also another satisfying one was the belt I'm looking at right now, the nicest belt in boxing, winning the British title. It was a shot that I'd rehearsed in the changing rooms. We was working on it. Was to turn southpaw and throw the right hook over. That's how I won the British title.
You said that because that shot stands out so much. I remember when you did that, and I thought
in Liverpool,
class punch.
Yeah, it was at the Olympia, and so that was one of them as well. So yeah, those two really. If you had to pick one, you've got to go with the one that won the world title. But they're the two that stick out to me.
Yeah. Super. Before I answer the last question, there's something I just wanted to say. I watched another podcast with you on, and when we knew you was coming on here, and obviously everyone knows what happened in 2014 when you was building up to the big fight and the burglary and stuff. But I'd never heard you speak about what happened, and you was on and you said, well, my neighbours, they were getting married soon, and I thought they might have had money in the house, or they might have, they were getting ready for their wedding. I just didn't want their wedding to be spoiled, so I thought I'd better go over and stop these two guys. And when I heard that, I thought you're preparing for this massive no, and you're more worried about your neighbour's wedding. I just thought it just shows what a gentleman and a decent guy you are. So I just wanted to say, well done on that.
No, thank you. Listen, you've got to, I always say, look after your neighbours, don't you? And you just forget about being a boxer or what's coming up at that moment in time. But yeah, it was probably wasn't the best move, but here's one of them, no regrets.
Yeah, I was going to say, would you do it again? But I guess you answered that now.
Of course you would.
Everyone was trying to move next to Anthony Crolla after that. Everyone's like, how much of the house is on the street? We want to get these. He's got our back.
I remember when that happened more because I was fighting for a world title that year too, and I'm sure it was before I fought for the world title, and I was thinking, I can't believe he's going to miss out on fighting for a world title, and I've got my opportunity. And that's why it stood out, because I felt so sorry for you.
Yeah, thankfully, like them, you do, and that's it. Like, again, going back to having that mindset, positive thinking I remember being laid there in a bed, and I remember thinking, do you know what? I can't just sit here feeling sorry for myself, feeling like I've been dealt a bad hand. And I always thought, like, if I get a second chance, if I get another chance to box again, then I've got to get and I always felt like I was trying that anyway, but the very, very best out of myself. So there's some better ways to I don't want to say it was a blessing in disguise, because it certainly wasn't, but I think it certainly helped me mentally for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to finish that by saying, you've said the best punch, and I'm sure that's one of, if not the best moment of your career. But what's the moment in your career, but outside of boxing, where you've had to pinch yourself? Boxing brought me here, Anthony Crolla. I started out in the gym trying to be a fighter, and it's opened the door to me in the real pinch yourself, surreal moment.
Ah, wow. There's been, do you know what? There is so many. I'll say the same. You get around certain people, and I'm thinking, oh wow, like I've grew up watching you, or grew up idolizing you. I remember even just once being at a sportsman's dinner, and I'm sat next to Sugar Ray Leonard, you know, as one of the guests, and I'm thinking, wow, I've watched these tapes from my dad, and you know, he's one of my all-time favorite fighters, or like even ones where I'm in the ring, and I certainly wasn't overawed, but I remember because I'm switched on there, but you know, Oscar De La Hoya's in the opposing corner, and I'm one of Bry's favorites, but I'm like, it's, you know, these are just people who grew up watching, and it's mad. I remember, Brian, not to just bring you into it purposely, I remember being at your fight against Andrade, and it was over at the Barclays, wasn't it? And I remember being buzzing that Freddie Roach recognised me.
Yeah.
Because he was there. He had Vodnikov on, didn't he, the same night?
I got a picture of the same week, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and you remember just like the Minzer, and I thought, oh wow, it's all a bit mad, this. Do you know what I mean? It's all a bit mad.
I just like, I was.
What's that?
You didn't have a clue who I was.
No. I remember him after when I'd boxed Lennon. I was with him for a bit, and I met him in the back, and just like had a private word with me, and he says, oh, you know, it was great seeing how much you've come on from when you come back in the gym in 2013 over the last few years. And I think if someone like that compliments you, like, you know, it's something you remember forever. So yeah, I think there's a few. I know I mentioned Freddie Roach a few times, but yeah. Yeah.
You know, we'll speak about mindset before. Have you ever felt in a fight you've been seriously hurt and carried on? Because I was telling Michael the other day about when I fought Maciel, and I was actually pissing blood after that fight. I did the drug test. Yeah. I was pissing thick blood, and I remember looking at the drug test, like it was like, it happens all the time. I was thinking, it happens all the time. I'm pissing blood. Do you know what I mean? But I remember thinking in that fight, it was like the 6th round, thinking, I've got a bleed on the brain here. I know I have, but I'm not going to stop. I needed it and wanted it that much. I just thought, I don't care if I'll die in this ring tonight. And I honestly believed I was going to collapse after the fight and die. But as long as I win, I don't care. Which is mad to think that's what we put ourselves through.
It's crazy to let yourself go through. And you just mentioned that I've done it a few times, you know, where you're peeing blood yourself, and you think, or people see it and they must think, is this worth it? Is this really worth it? I remember it when I say about the sport being brutal. I remember Callum Smith, he's not turned pro yet, had he? No, he'd not. I think, oh no, he had, wait, I can't think. No, he had turned pro, I think. Anyway, it was very early on in his professional career, and he said, I always remember being in the changing rooms, and you was peeing blood. And I thought, wow, this is a proper brutal sport. Do you know what I mean? It's bad. Like, whatever was getting paid, was it enough to be peeing blood and just stitches and blood pouring out my head? It was that was a night that sort of changed my career. So it obviously was worth it, but it's tough. And you mentioned then about fighting. You know, the most hurt I've ever been in a fight. Do you remember Andy Morris? I boxed him for an English title, and he hit me with a body shot. And I remember, and honestly, I must have had a great poker face because I can't remember. You can't see in the fight where it was. But I remember just thinking, oh my God, he's absolutely split me in half here. He split me in half, but I kept sort of walking forward. And I remember just thinking, if he touches me 1 or 2 more times, I'm just going to fold over and just not be able to get up. Thankfully, like I said, my poker face was chunks. I was just so determined. I mean, I always was, like that night where I thought I cannot lose, and that was it. But I just wanted the ring to swallow me up for a good. It seemed like an hour, but it was probably for about a minute. Yeah,
they're horrible. Them body shots. I've been hitting someone for like 2.5 minutes. Been hit with a body shot, and you not always knowing I've been hit with a body shot because I just go, and then for 30 seconds, literally don't throw a punch. And just like that, and like Bobby's like, stick that jab out, and I'm just like out walking around the ring.
You know,
because you know if you get touched around there again, you go in. It's horrible.
Yeah, honestly, you know, like with it, and you probably had this, Brian. You know, when you're an amateur, like you're a decent amateur there, good junior or something, and you'll get in with a professional, and for a minute or two, you're pinging him, and it's easy this. then just drop over and they'll throw that little shot to the body. You're moving around that and you're thinking, oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I do to my amateurs now. I used to get in with pros, do 4 rounds and then get out, and they used to be pissed off because I got out the ring. But now the amateurs do it to me now. They ping me for 4 rounds, get out, and I'm like, stay in.
Get back in here, you. Yeah.
Right. Thanks, Ant. Thanks for coming on to the Lions Den. It's been a pleasure to have you on, mate.
Right. Always good to catch up, mate. Always. We'll catch up soon.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Ant. Top man. Great having Ant on, wasn't it?
No, it's brilliant. We go back a long way, me and Ant.
No, he's a good lad. You can see that. You can see he's like your mate. You felt really comfortable with him chatting to him. And he was just like having a chat, just open. I really like that.
Yeah,
Nice to watch.
Like I say, he's brilliant to have on for the mindset because he's been through it all.
Yeah, to hear him talk about like setbacks and facing criticism, dealing with praise, and just taking them early losses on and going on to win the world title, and even to get his insight, about the lightweights being like his forte, that division. It was just it was good stuff.
Yeah, he is the meaning of like you only show the fighter you are until you get beat. If you can come back and be a champion after being beat, that shows the person and it shows the character. It shows the fighter you are.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll move on from Ant, and thanks again to Ant. And we'll talk a little bit about Canelo and Saunders coming up. And I know we spoke about this before together, and I know everyone's talking about it, but there's an interesting question that, I was sitting there thinking, and I wanted to answer you and actually answer everyone at home as well, this question. Why are we holding Billy Joe Saunders so highly in this fight? Canelo is esteemed for everyone in the prime of his career. He's ruthless anyway. He's a great finisher. For me, arguably the best. He's a pound for pound best fighter. But people, when they said Billy Joe Saunders was getting this fight of him, me included, are going, I think Billy Joe Saunders can beat him. I think Billy Joe Saunders can be the one to really test him. Billy Joe Saunders is going to knock him out.
Yeah.
Why are we thinking this?
For me, it was after the fight was announced. I think we've seen a different side to Billy Joe Saunders. He's more serious on interviews. He's definitely more serious about his training. He looks in top shape. For me, Billy Joe Saunders stands a chance because his footwork is so good. He's so quick with his feet, and that's the way you beat Canelo. Very hard to beat Canelo, but that is the way of beating him. Loads of footwork, in, out, simple really, but you've just got to be able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. If you're Billy Joe Saunders going into this fight, do you think if Billy Joe Saunders doesn't beat him, he's going to feel like he's let people down? Do you feel like he's going to feel disappointed, like he was there for the taking? Or do you think he's going into this fight not like us, knowing how good Canelo is?
No, I think he truly believes he's going to win this fight, and that's why I think me and you are sat here thinking he could do it, because he truly believes in himself. But in a way where he's not blagging us, he's actually made us believe.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I was going to say that I think it's a bit like, he's always comparable to Fury because of their backgrounds, because of the fact of their friendship and stuff. But with Fury from day one, you always believed he was the one who could beat Klitschko. You always believed he's the one who could beat Wilder. Now with Joshua, everyone's Fury's going to do it. And I think it's that self-belief they carry and that background they carry where it's almost if their mindset is just as good as their ability.
100%. Like, you never feel like Tyson Fury's going to let you down, even when he's put on his bum.
Yeah,
he gets back
rising from the ashes.
But Prince Naseem used to do the same until he bumped into Barrera. I used to, honestly, like when he got knocked down by Kevin Kelly in his first time he fought in New York, I was like, he'll pull it off, he'll win, and he did. And I never thought he was going to let us down. And then obviously you come up against Barrera, he was a great fighter, but he was the same sort of person, same sort of fighter.
Yeah. Well, then I'll put you on the spot a little bit then, and take away your heart out of it. Take away someone you've never heard of these two fighters before. I come in, I show you a video of Canelo, his last 6 fights, show you a video of Billy Joe Saunders, his last 6 fights. You don't know who they are. How's that fight going to go and why?
Going off the last 6 fights, and I didn't know them, like you said, like you just put it, I would say Canelo, because his performances, his last 6 fights, haven't been up against people he should be in the ring with, but they have been mandatories. They have been top fighters. Whereas Billy Joe Saunders hasn't been up against it. He's had tick overs with Martin Murray. Martin Murray was a great fighter, but coming to the end of his career. So for me, Canelo, going off that, but there's something inside me now just telling me that Billy Joe Saunders is going to win that fight. People probably were going to watch and think you're mad, but
I feel exactly the same way though.
it's
I don't know.
so strange, isn't it?
I don't know if we're being sucked in. What is Billy Joe Saunders doing to the world? He's made us believe.
It's because we've seen pictures of him in such good shape.
Yeah,
and like you say, like I said before, on the interviews, he just looks so supremely confident, and that gives everything away. You know, I think when you're confident but really believe that, you know, it goes a long way.
When you've got confidence and you've got the ability to back it up, then you're a dangerous man, aren't you?
That's it, yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to it, and we'll come back on and we'll chat about it after, and hopefully we'll be sitting here saying Billy Joe Saunders has done it because we want him to win.
Someone told me a story about Billy Joe Saunders as well the other day. They said even when he's not fit, he's super fit.
Yeah.
So if he's not been fit for them other fights, but still getting through them and quite comfortably, and he's supremely fit for this fight, then Canelo's in trouble.
You're sending it to me even more now, mate. You're sending it to me even more.
I sound like part of seeing Billy Joe Saunders.
You should be. We can make that happen. So let us know what you guys think. You know, are you also being sold a dream? Is Billy Joe Saunders going to do it, or is Canelo just going to like spoil our fun? So yeah, comment on the post. Let us know.
Tag, share, comment.
Do it. So we spoke about the big fight in a couple of weeks. Canelo and Saunders. A couple of good fights coming up this weekend. Well, a lot of good fights coming up this weekend. Just want gun-to-head predictions. Chisora and Parker.
Parker.
I didn't think that through. I want you to elaborate now. It's not a gun to head.
Oh, I thought
that's totally my fault. That's totally my fault.
Yeah,
there's not a gun to head anymore. I took the gun away.
I thought, yeah, right, okay. So I think Parker, because he'll outbox Chisora. I think he's just a better boxer. As long as he doesn't walk into one, which can happen at heavyweight. You know, anything can happen in boxing anyway. But Chisora wins that fight. I think he's just a little bit better technically.
That was good. That was better. I'm going against you.
I thought they were quick fire questions.
I know. I didn't think it through. I'm not a professional, all right? I'm going to go against you on that one. I think that yes, if it does go to plan for the way Parker will want the fight to go, Parker will beat him on points. But I think Parker was uninspiring in his last fight, and I think there's some kind of renaissance about Del Boy where he's just making it happen. I think he's going to walk onto the shot.
Thinking with your heart there, mate.
That's it.
Thinking with your head.
We'll see. I could be right on this one. So,
social distance.
Oh, yeah. When this is finished, we're going to cover this down. Yeah, we'll go on. Andy Ruiz coming back. Easy win for him. It's not even. Is it going to be a test?
It'll probably be. He's going to win the fight and he'll win comfortably. But the thing with Andy Ruiz is, I'm not quite sure. Being heavy, as big as he was, and out of shape he was, did that help him? Because he's lost a lot of weight. He doesn't look like a heavyweight anymore.
No, I massively agree with you that he's claiming 6 foot. He's like doing what Mike Tyson did in his heyday, claiming sort of 6 foot, and he's about 5 foot, sort of 10, 11. I think he's about 5'11" with that weight on him. He just looked like a big brawler, didn't he? Now, see pictures of him, you're like, 1 minute, I wonder what's your actual walking around.
I wonder if you can make Cruiser or
light heavy. He could be in the lightweight king chat soon. No, I think he'll win. I think it's a comeback fight just to get his eye in, and I think he'll win comfortably. And it'd be interesting to see where he goes next.
But like I say, when he gets in with them bigger, like Anthony Joshua's who's been in with, but getting in with someone like that, his size now, might be a different fight. He might not be a heavyweight. And you spoke about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was elusive. And in shape. He was in incredible shape. Andrew Ruiz, no disrespect, he's lost weight, but he still looks out of shape. Yeah, no, it's not comparable. I don't want to knock Andrew Ruiz. Obviously, can't mention the same breath as Mike Tyson. I think fair play to him. He's went and done this big weight loss. He's applied himself. I'm interested to see how it's going to help him. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, last up, mate, Jonas Taylor.
I'm going to go with Katie Taylor. She's the best out there as a woman. She's brought women's boxing to the front. So for me, Katie Taylor. I'd like to see Jonas go and win. She's got a daughter. I'd love to see her. I love to see good people do well, and that's one of them things. So, but Katie Taylor.
Yeah, I think it's a sensible pick, but I'm going to go against you now, just to be a contrarian. I just like disagreeing with you now. That's it. No, I'm going to go Jonas. I think Katie Taylor's been absolutely superb. Incredible career, real purist fighter, technically brilliant. I just think Jonas, it's her time. I think she's up and coming, and I think this is her time. Yeah. Another bet we've got there, haven't we? That's it, mate. It's flown by today.
It's been great, like having Anthony Crolla on as the second guest. It's been brilliant talking about mindset and the journey that he's been on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't wait now. It's getting, it's looking like it's going to be possible very soon. But to have the likes of Ant sitting in here with us, and because you could have spoke to him for hours, couldn't we?
No, like I say, it was a brilliant chat, and he's got some good stories. Well, we've got some good stories, some that we probably can't talk about.
Yeah, no, they were really interesting. I've heard them all. No, I don't really know, really. No, it was really good stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you listen, hope you watch, and like I say, get involved, have a conversation with us, tell us what you think, get involved in the debate. It's great.
Thanks for joining us. See you again next time on the Lion's Den.
See you again.